We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, the quest for dismissed Hillsborough County State Attorney to get his job back has hit a snag. Today, a judge ruled against Andrew Warren. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jamison Euler. This story has been developing for months now, and we've been following it every step of the way. Let's turn it over to Wendy Ryan now with a look at how we got here. Wendy?
Yeah, thanks, Jamison. There's a lot to unpack here, and it's been going on for months. So let's start from the very beginning. It started actually back in June after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. That's when Andrew Warren issued a joint statement with prosecutors nationwide saying they won't prosecute people who seek, provide, or support abortions. Then, in early August, Governor Ron DeSantis suspended Warren, accusing him of putting himself above the law and neglect of duty. That very same day, Warren vowed to fight the suspension. And later that same month, Warren filed a lawsuit to get his job back. He's accused the governor of violating his First Amendment rights. Then the trial started in late November, and it featured testimony from several high-ranking members of the governor's staff and Warren himself. And that brings us to today. A judge ruled against Warren, but admitted the governor violated Warren's First Amendment rights. So now let's turn it over to our Capitol reporter, Forrest Saunders, who will break down today's ruling. Forrest?
Wendy, if you find yourself scratching your head here with this ruling, I totally understand that. The federal judge essentially said that he agreed with Warren's argument, but that because he is a federal judge, his hands are tied by federal law. In Friday's order, Judge Robert Hinkle sided with Governor Ron DeSantis, but far from agreed with him. The Bill Clinton appointee didn't buy the governor's reasoning for Andrew Warren's ouster last August. Those signed pledges where Warren vowed not to prosecute things like Florida's 15-week abortion ban.
When you make yourself above the law, you have violated your duty.
DeSantis considered the pledges blanket policies. Hinkle called the allegation false, saying the suspension violated Florida's Constitution and the First Amendment. Here's the rub, however. The judge said the First Amendment violation wasn't essential to the outcome. DeSantis was going to suspend regardless, and that the 11th Amendment prevented the judge from granting relief to the violation of state law.
The truth has come out. The truth is that Governor DeSantis abused his power in suspending me, not in the pursuit of justice, but in the pursuit of politics.
Warren had a brief statement Friday afternoon reiterating the judge's findings. He didn't offer next steps, but called on DeSantis to reinstate him.
And this is a golden opportunity for him to show our country what kind of man he truly is. This is not over.
Warren could now take his case higher to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals or refile in state court. Supporters with the Public Rights Project think you'll have a good chance regardless.
I think that there are a number of avenues that are available, and I think the court today laid a really strong framework for either appellate review by the 11th Circuit or by a state judge to rule in the same way.
The governor's office, meanwhile, touting a win, albeit technical, saying in a statement with a bit of spin, quote, "Today the judge upheld his decision to suspend Andrew Warren from office for neglect of duty and incompetence. Another win for Governor DeSantis and the people of Hillsborough County." Now, it's important to note here that Warren does have a third course of action. What he can do is take his case before the Florida Senate. But Warren's a Democrat, and he may not want to do that, seeing as the upper chamber has a GOP supermajority that is very loyal to Governor Ron DeSantis. That is the latest out here at the Capitol. I'm Forrest Saunders reporting.
Forrest, thank you. And we wanted to give you some more perspective on this, so we went to Stetson University College of Law today. Professor Louis Varelli explains that this is a confusing ruling for Floridians, adding that the judge likely found himself in a difficult position.
It has to be confusing, right? Because we're brought up to believe that when somebody is found to have done something wrong, there's a fix, there's a remedy. And here, because of the way federal and state courts interact, we found that something was absolutely illegally done. Something wrong was done. The governor doesn't have a legal basis for what he did, but the federal court can't fix it.
So you might be wondering what message this sends to other elected officials here in the state. We asked our political expert, Dr. Susan McManus, that question just a few moments ago. She tells us it sends a message to other elected officials to stick to the laws on the books without inserting personal opinions. We're going to continue to stay on top of this latest twist and turns both on air and online. Our coverage continues on our digital platforms as well at abcactionnews.com.